calls from Kakaki, the African voice, way after reaching you from the nation's capital here in Abuja. My next guest is the national president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Daniel Onjeh. Thank you for joining us, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations for returning to school after so many months at home. How does it feel like getting back to school?
Well, it was quite a traumatic experience. Nigerian students were the people who, at the receiving end, as a result of the strike, we appreciated the decision of the Academic Staff Union and University to call off the strike at a time we consider apt, even though we know that all they have been fighting for of the university community.
Well, the NANS was also known to have been very vocal in support of ASU or in opposition to ASU, whichever was during the strike. Why were you so quiet? I was now so silent throughout the period of the strike.
I don't think that is true, except if you are not abreast of the situation as it was then. NANS was fully involved in the struggle, and NANS was just completely pro-ASU in the struggle, because we believed that their demands were quite legitimate. All they're asking for is the proper funding of the educational sector, and they're asking the government to wake up to its responsibility of funding the educational sector. So to the extent that we carried out Save Education, Save the Future rally on February 3rd this year, where over 7,000 students were all over the streets of Abuja protesting to the Federal Ministry of Education, the National Assembly, and even to the presidency. So I don't think it is correct to say that we kept quiet all through. And we have been all out on the media expressing our position and our stance as regarding the strike. We were fully involved.
Now that you are back to school, after almost 6 months of stay at home and of the ASU struggle, do you think that 6 months that you lost, your colleagues in school lost, was worth the struggle? Have you seen any results of that 6 months struggle by ASU?
Well, freedom has never been attained, or the state of freedom has never been attained as a platter of gold. So I think, despite that we've lost out time, I consider big enough to have covered even 2 semesters, almost getting to a session. It wasn't completely a loss on our part. That was a price we ought to pay to ensure that our deplorable state of our campuses is being resuscitated. And just like I told you, ASU weren't fighting for their personal aggrandizement. They were fighting for the general interest of the university community. Not just the university community, even for the educational sector as a whole. Because the proper funding of the educational sector is definitely going to affect all tertiary institutions, and even down to the primary and secondary level.
In our days in the universities, in higher institutions, we had what was called the NANS Charter of Demands. Some of those demands encapsulated what today ASU and NANS is still talking about, a better funding of the university system.
Yes.
Over the years, it does not seem as if those, the powers that be in the corridors of power have ever listened or even thought of implementing any of those charters of NANS demands that were placed at that time. Now, what is your concept today of what the Nigerian educational system should be? What is the NANS concept of what it should be?
Well, like you rightly talked about, our Charter of Demands, and is in tandem with that of the Academic Staff Union. And that's why I told you we're utterly in solidarity with them during the strike. Our own idea of an ideal academic environment is a full democratized setup. We are calling on the federal government to grant the university autonomy. Because of the dire need for autonomy and our eagerness to have it, as the major stakeholders in the academic environment began to agitate, the federal government came out with a blueprint of their perception of autonomy. And all they want to grant is financial autonomy. And that, even though the bill has not been passed, has gradually been implemented. That is an act of imposition. Today you have hike in school fees here and there in the nation. And that is not our idea of university of autonomy. We are talking about administrative autonomy, where the system would be fully democratized. Let the stakeholders in the particular environment where the university is instituted be governed according to how they want themselves to be governed. Let the appointment or election of vice chancellors of the various institutions, the provost directors, be done in accordance to the aspiration of the stakeholders of the various institutions.
Now, isn't what we are talking about, therefore, partial autonomy? Because you're talking of democratization of the administrative system, but you seem to be opposed to financial autonomy.
Well, the government owes the responsibility to fund the education. It is even enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria to provide free and functional education to the citizens. It is sole responsibility. So they must not shy away from that fact. They have to provide the funding. I don't think with this bad state of our economy, Nigerian students have the financial muscles to meet up with the financial obligations on our campuses today. So the federal government has to live up to the expectations. That is why we kick strongly against that aspect of financial autonomy. If you are saying in one session of the proposed autonomy bill that on no account should students be deprived of studies with respect to tuition fees, on another part you empowered the authorities of the school to go and source for money. We do not have philanthropists who are ready to invest in education in this country. So where's the money going to come from? Certainly it is going to be extorted from the students. And that gradually has started on our campuses. And that is why the NANS have vowed not to keep quiet on this matter. We are going to continue fighting until the government wakes up fully to its responsibility to fund the educational sector. The economy is bad. Our parents are not earning money substantiable enough to take care of their work in the school, and the government is empowering the institution management to increase the fees day by day. We cannot take this from the government. They have to wake up to their responsibility.
Well, that again brings us back to the just suspended strike by ASU. You have returned to campuses. You have resumed lectures. Have you noticed any changes at all that were brought about by this strike that ASU embarked upon? Has government in any way responded to some of the demands that were placed on the table by ASU and by extension NANS during this strike?
Well, government has not assented to the plight of the stakeholders in the system, the students and the ASU, to say. And right now what is going on, there has been a lukewarm attitude from students to their lecturers, because like I earlier stated, that students were psychologically traumatized, because having stayed at home for 6 months, you do not expect a student to come in and be happy with his lecturer. Because we live in a gullible society, it was very easy for the then Minister of Education to sponsor all sorts of propaganda. And students and parents swallowed hook, line, and sinker. And that is why they are showing this lukewarm attitude. But I have encouraged my students to embrace their lecturers back, to hold them in the same regard they used to before we went on strike. Because the lecturers actually were fighting for the general interest of the stakeholders in the educational sector. So government has not assented to this, and all these attributes to the misinformation of the whole situation to Mr. President by the former Minister of Education. And I think his exit has paved way for sanity in the educational system.
Well, now it's just like ASU had a running battle with the former Minister of Education, just like you mentioned here now. And that's because he thought that he was misinforming the president. Now you have a new Minister of Education who is himself an academic. He's been in the educational sector his life, both himself and the Minister of State. What's your reading of the new minister? Have you met him? Have you interacted with him?
Well, we've not met him yet as an organization, and we have not interacted with him yet. Very soon, we shall be paying him a coffee call, where we shall list out the challenge of his leadership to him, where we shall bring out the obvious, because we insistently fought against the former minister. We came out severally and called for his resignation, because we have threatened to embark on another Ali must go demonstration in form of body Shadi must go. And we were seriously calculating towards that. And thank God that democracy took its natural course. And for that, we laud and applaud the Senate of Nigeria.
Are you saying that you were not disposed, positively disposed to its confirmation by the Senate when his name was submitted?
No, we were not. The final day he appeared, I assured you, we mobilized in hundreds to the National Assembly in a very peaceful and organized manner. We carried placards and we were chanting songs, anti-Bolishade songs. And it was very clear and obvious to the senators, having seen the placards we're carrying, protesting in a very peaceful manner, that we were going to fight tirelessly if they returned the former Minister of Education. Because we cannot imagine a man who was insensitive to the plight of the Nigerian students, because he wanted to flex muscles with the lecturers, academic staff union, kept the students away from their studies for over 6 months. We have a prior information that his kids are not schooling in Nigeria here. They are abroad schooling. You can't keep other people's children. You can't be flexing muscles with academic staff union at the detriment of Nigerian students. So we have insisted on that, and just like I mentioned, democracy has taken its course.
Was that his only thing?
That wasn't just the only thing. There were a lot of corruption that existed during his tenure in the Ministry of Education. A lot of conspiracy with the Educational Tax Fund to loot public funds, taxpayers' money, our parents' money, their hard-earned money they pay as tax. So we couldn't tolerate it. With all these things, gathered with all other issues and petitions that were raised by some other stakeholders in the nation's polity, and that mounted pressure on the senators, and at least gave them an insight to what existed before their inception. And thank God for the vibrant, the understanding senators. I think with the level of authority they shown and displayed to reject the former Minister of Education as a ministerial nominee, I think is a headway. It's a good thing that have happened to our democracy.
Well, let's go back to the campuses, Daniel. The campuses, if before the ASU strike, were beginning to boil over again, and most of it had to do with things that had nothing, no bearing with academic work, courtism. How is NAND tackling the problem of courtism on our campuses today?
Yes, that is yet another sin of the former Minister of Education. Because I remember vividly, immediately after the killing of the Secretary General of the Student Union Government of Obafemi Awolowo University, LSA, Mr. President released funds as much as 10 million naira to the various institutions to fight against cultism on our campuses. And these monies that were given out were converted into personal funds by most management of the tertiary institutions. And the Minister of Education kept silent over such issues. Now what was obtained at the time they received the money was just printing of t-shirts and signboards all around the school. They were not even involving the students in this fight against cultism. Is it them who are going to fetch out these cultists on our campuses? It is the students themselves who live among the cultists that know who the cultists are. They did not involve the students in their programs. So I think the approach to solving this menace of cultism on our campuses has to be a holistic one. And that is why we are preparing to have this coffee call to the new Minister of Education to present to him our action plan towards sanitizing the educational environment in Nigeria. We are prepared since the inception of my government. If you have been abreast of the NANS activities and the student activities, the activities of cultism has drastically reduced because we seriously de-emphasize their existence on our campuses. And we emphasize more on peaceful measures towards resolving crises of any sort in our academic environment. We have championed anti-cult campaigns, especially in the crisis-prone areas like Port Harcourt. We had sometime last year a very massive campaign against cultism in Rivers State University of Science and Technology. And we've been moving relentlessly. And we are calling on the federal government to give the due assistance, the necessary assistance to support the student leadership in fighting against these activities of cultism on our campus.
How much success would you say you have achieved in this your campaign from campus to campus? Because only last week or two, again, we read in papers of how a cultist struck somewhere in one institution in the southeast and how one or two other students became victims of cultists. And again, here and there, we keep, these things keep coming up every day. So how much success would you say now have achieved in this regard?
Well, I want to assure you that the itself is a microcosm of the larger society. The light itself is a reflection of the larger society. It's like the Operation Fire for Fire outfit, which has been instituted by the Inspector General of Police. And you are asking him how much success has he achieved. You had last week that there was robbery in Oshodi or somewhere. You know, because of the long years of military dispensation, the mentality and psyche of an average Nigerian have been militarized. The Nigerian students inclusive. This is something that, this is a damage that took a long period of time. And we do not expect magic to happen overnight. But we believe a 1,000-mile journey starts with a step, and we are taking the step. To a large extent, we have been able to achieve. We have a program which is going to come up sometime in September. It is going to come up during our International Student Week we hope to organize in Nigeria. We're going to have foreign students participating in this program. We're going to have foreign contributions so that we learn from our contemporaries abroad on how their systems are being run. Through that period, we hope to proffer a solution towards sanitizing the educational system, not just fighting cultism. We have other issues that are even more deadlier than the cultism. The HIV, AIDS. Nobody has been involved in proper campaigns to sensitize the students. And we felt it is only even through the students that this message will better be passed through the illiterate we have surrounding us today in the society, but the students have not been involved. Of all the billions of nairas and dollars that have been given for this project, we are saying the whole bane of the society is basically corruption. But thank God that the chairman of NACA is positively responding to the request of the organization. We have called his attention on the dare need to involve the students to fight against the HIV AIDS that is prevalent on our campuses and even in the society. And he has partly assented to that. We've had an agreement, and all these are going to be part of the activities that will be carried out in the Vision 2008. The Vision 2008 is going to gear towards providing a solution to sanitizing the entire educational sector in Nigeria. And we're going to involve major stakeholders in the exercise, so that our projection is that, like we're in 2003, the program is going to presume that an average Nigerian student, or say 60% of Nigerian students are cultists, the program is going to presume that an average Nigerian student is involved in exam malpractice, an average Nigerian student is HIV infected, an average Nigerian student is associated with the ills of the society. So the program is going to calculate towards implementing programs for 5 years, so that if we have new intake by 2003, like we already had, by the time they are given the proper orientation, we believe in their 5 years of stay on the campus in a sanitized environment, will have attained an ideal academic environment by 2008. It is the legacy my administration wants to leave for the Nigerian students.
A 5-year rolling plan.
5-year rolling plan. We are going to kickstart it, and very soon we'll be having the NANS convention. New leadership will come on board, so they will start from there. But we hope the new Minister of Education is going to understand with us. With this project, we consider it laudable, so that we can inject it into the system to sanitize the educational environment, because we feel that it has to be with a concerted effort. All hands have to be on deck, because honestly, I must confess to you that we are running in a very, educational sector is running on a very deplorable ground and environment.
If the educational system is running on a very deplorable ground, like you say, you have talked about going to pay a visit to the Minister of Education, the new Minister of Education. And you have the opportunity of meeting him today. As NANS president, one who is representing the rest of Nigerian students, what would be that first thing that you would want the Minister of Education to do for the educational sector in Nigeria?
Well, the fact that the Academic Staff Union ASU had only suspended the strike and not called it off is another big threat to the educational system. So I think the first thing we have to tackle is to make sure it bridges the gap between ASU and federal government. The agreement reached between federal government and ASU since July 2001 had been the issue, and federal government abrogated the agreement. Let the gap be bridged by the Minister of Education, then all other things can follow. Because we cannot start working out any action plan when we are not sure of remaining on campus in the next 3-4 months, because they are threatening to go back on strike again, to resume strike. They have mentioned severally that they've only suspended the strike. Before the strike was called off, NANS took its final position on the matter by acting in a mediatory capacity to mediate between the federal government and ASU when the whole crisis was dragging longer than we thought. So we were frustrated as we tried to reach the Mr. President. But that was attributed to his tight schedule as a result of aftermath of the election. And we had to understand this thing then. But we hope to still approach him so that this matter can finally be nipped in the bud. But we met with the ASU leadership, and it was as a result of the meeting with them and our plea that they decided to call us a strike. Okay. All other persons might want to take the glory, but I can assure you, we pleaded with them. We made them understood that we have been in solidarity with them all along since the inception of the strike. But for the sake of Nigerian students, since the matter had been dragged in the Industrial Administration panel, that they should just consider our interest and call off the strike so that we can go back to the campus. And we did assure them that we're going to continue with the role we are playing, even to the desk of the federal government, to ensure that we equally plead with them to drop their arms. Because as the two elephants continue to fight, it is the ground and the grass that will continue to suffer. Nigerian students have bared the brunt of all draconian policies of the government of Nigeria, right from independence till today. And during the pre-colonial era, Nigerian students were in the forefront fighting for independence and entrenchment of democracy. And today we have not reached the dividends of democracy. As the economic situation of the country is continually being very harsh to an average Nigerian student. And this is because of the negligence and the misdeeds of our government.
Now, talking about the economic situation, recently the Nigerian Labour Congress called out workers in Nigeria to protest the hike in the prices of pump prices of petroleum products. Eventually, it was settled at 84 naira per litre from 26 naira. How is this going to affect students?
Now, the increment. What were government's arguments? The argument with the government of yesterday has not changed with the government of today. We have severally mentioned that prices in Nigeria do not guarantee supply. Even now that the prices have gone up, it does not guarantee supply. There is still forced scarcity all over the place. Yesterday, I was driving in from Kaduna to Abuja with our announced official bus. We didn't get fuel anywhere in any filling station to buy. We have to buy black market still. Imagine us buying 20-liter fuel for almost 2,000 naira to fill in our bus. I mean, we can't continue like this. What we are saying, we made it clear to the NLC leadership, because Nigerian students were at the center stage of the protest against this fuel price hike. In Lagos, in Benin, in Port Harcourt, even in Abuja here. We mobilized in thousands to protest against this fuel hike. We were also major stakeholders in the crisis. We were also major stakeholders in the situation as it was then. But when the negotiation was going on, nobody deemed it fit to call us to the table. But while we were watching what was going on, we called the attention of the leadership of NLC that they must insist on the 26 naira price. That they should talk about reverting the price to the status quo, not review of the price, for so many obvious reasons. Because we know that any attempt to toll along the middle line will not change the situation. And the government will use that as a subterfuge, like it is obtainable now. There's this false scarcity, and the government will come out to tell you it is because the subsidy have not 100% been removed. Rather than even agree to the 34 naira, we will have preferred Adam Oshomole to agree on the said 38 naira, which is the 100% removal of the subsidy, so that the government, if their arguments were to be assumed to be right, the government will not have any subterfuge for the non-availability of fuel and the rest. We are saying we know that there will be increments in wages of workers very soon, because NSC will begin to agitate for that. It is not in as much as we are appreciating that the salaries of our parents or the wages might increase. It is not every student in Nigeria whose parents are public or civil servants. On that ground, at least government has successfully removed subsidy of about 74%. If 250 billion naira was accrued to them before, now over 166 billion naira will accrue to them. And they must invest it on the educational sector. They should make sure that every Nigerian student receives a bursary award of no less than 50,000 naira every year. This position was presented before the Senate President and the Speaker of the House. They are promised us they are going to look into it. And we are not going to go back on this. Because as they are providing buffer for the workers to cushion the attendant effects of the fuel price hike, they must also provide for Nigerian students. We cannot continue to suffer in a nation where we are naturally blessed with natural resources. Japan, with no notable natural resources, other than earthquake and volcanoes, have advanced technologically, and this is because they prioritize their education. In some couple of years ago, over 30% of their annual budget was invested in their education. Our government was wake up to the responsibility of developing manpower, of developing their human resources, and that is our position to federal government.
All right, Daniel Onjeh is the national president of National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. He is a student of the Federal University of Technology in Minna, Niger State in North Central Nigeria. We've been talking about the educational system and, of course, the latest demand of NANS that, well, now that the prices of petroleum products have gone up and the workers may, in fact, be enjoying some measure of wage increment, Nigerian students also deserve some bursary awards to cushion the pain of learning in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Daniel, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's a bit on Kakaki, the African Voice. This is the morning. We take you back to our Lagos studios, where Kosi and Kunle are standing by to continue with the African Voice. Have a wonderful day.